Greetings. Praise the Lord. I am truly grateful for another opportunity to come back to the Wow Women of Worship Ministries and share health and wellness moments. I want to thank the Wow Women of Worship Ministries Board of Directors and Ministry Leaders for the opportunity to share information that helps us as women live healthier lives. For those that are watching this via Facebook or via YouTube, I want to ask you to please share this video with anyone that you believe will be blessed by it. Today's Wow Women of Worship Ministries Health and Wellness Moment subject is Type 2 Diabetes in Women. Type 2 Diabetes in Women. Type 2 diabetes is a medical disorder where the body fails to produce enough insulin in the blood. When the body fails to produce the proper amount of insulin in the blood, those things lead to increased blood sugar levels. Now, some of the things that add to increased blood sugar levels are sugary foods, also starchy foods. Did you know that highly starched foods and foods that are high in carbohydrates turn into sugar? Now, how does this process work? When a person eats a sugary food or a food that is high in carbohydrates, such as breads, pasta, and even there's some vegetable categories that are high in carbohydrates. If those carbohydrates are not burned off calorie-wise, those unburned calories, those unburned carbohydrates, they turn into sugar. Alcoholic beverages, alcohol itself, it also turns into sugar. A lot of people don't know this. But when the body fails to produce enough blood sugar, and if the individual continues to eat highly sugary foods or highly carbohydrated foods without burning those carbs and the sugar off, they end up with elevated blood sugar levels. Now, some signs that an individual is borderline diabetic or diabetic. Personally, I don't like to use the term borderline diabetic because to me, you either are or you're not. But borderline diabetic is also a term that's used, or also pre-diabetes. That's another term that I've heard used. But some of the signs of elevated blood sugar or signs that a person is diabetic is when they urinate frequently, when they have increased thirst, when they crave sugary foods a lot of times. That's one of the things I've heard from diabetic patients. They say that they're always craving sugar and that it's extremely challenging to battle that disease because they say their bodies are always craving sugar. Also, numbness in the hands and the feet. Any type of injury where the healing process is longer than the norm, so to speak. So when people have cuts and scrapes, if they are taking a very long time to heal, or if they don't heal, that's a very dangerous sign that a person has diabetes or has elevated blood sugar. So let's talk about some of the things that we can do to try to eliminate becoming pre-diabetic or eliminate or avoid type 2 diabetes. One of the main things we can do is exercise at least 3 times a week. At least 3 times a week for an hour. Because when you exercise, you are burning off calories, you're burning off carbohydrates, so therefore you're decreasing the chances of type 2 diabetes. Now, if there is an individual watching this video and they're already pre-diabetic, or they're already diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, exercise is still a good thing. I will say consult your doctor, because there are certain times with a type 2 diabetic where their blood sugar levels can become extremely elevated, to the extent where it is advised that they not exercise until their blood sugar decreases to a certain level. And that is because the numbness that I spoke about earlier is, the higher a person's blood sugar is, the more chances that their nerve system becomes numb, and the sensitivity decreases. So basically, one of the reasons why medical professionals suggest that when a person's blood sugar is extremely elevated, not to exercise, is because they say that the chances are increased to hurt oneself and not even feel it. And then there's internal damage. Internal damage. What do I mean by internal damage? There's internal damage done to the inside, the internal organs that are totally oblivious. Individual can be totally oblivious to the damage that they're doing in their body when they go out and exercise and do things, and their blood sugar is extremely elevated. It's very easy for them to hurt themselves and just be totally unconscious to it, totally oblivious to it. So another thing that a person can do to decrease their chances of becoming a type 2 diabetic or fight the disease is by drinking plenty of water. Plenty of water. They can also increase their vegetable intake and reduce their carbohydrate intake. It is really important. And those that have a sweet tooth and they just really struggle, and they say, they just can't shake it. Anyone that has a really strong sweet tooth and they just give in to the sugar craving, make sure you eat a protein supplement. And what I mean by that, when I say supplement your diet with something with protein in it, is, for instance, if someone has a piece of candy because they just couldn't pass it up, they had a piece of birthday cake, they just couldn't pass it up, you have to add a protein with that, whether it be a spoonful of peanut butter or the protein of your choice. That helps fight the elevated blood sugar as well, so it's highly suggested. So with that being the case, it is very, very important for those that do have elevated blood sugar, those that have type 2 diabetes, to monitor their blood sugar. And you monitor your blood sugar, of course, with a blood glucose meter and with a needle where you draw your blood, and you put the blood on a little stick, and you just put the stick into the machine, and it calculate your blood sugar reading. Now, I know a lot of people that are diabetic, they really struggle with that. I was married to a man that was diabetic, my ex-husband, and he really didn't like having to check his sugar levels. He had been diabetic for so long. But it's really important to know what your levels are, because diabetes is very sneaky. It can the sugar in the blood can elevate really quickly depending on what you eat. Your emotions can also affect your blood sugar as well. It's very important that you check your blood sugar, and it's also very important that you eat right. A lot of people that are managing type 2 diabetes aren't aware that the body has a way of telling on you. Those that go to the endocrinologist and they seek treatment on a quarterly basis, they're machines that can go all the way back 90 days to tell what you've eaten. So a lot of people feel like, well, I'll just eat what I want, and when I get close to my doctor appointment a week or two before, I'll just go ahead and I'll just eat really good, but the body will still tell on you. Our blood cells replace themselves every 90 days. So that is why a lot of times when people go in and they get their checkup, and the doctor tells them, oh, well, this has been your range, and a lot of them are shocked. And a lot of time it's because they're not aware that there's technology out there that can go back 90 days and it can just tell everything you've been eating. So it can tell if you've been cheating, it can tell if you have not been eating right. So I wanted to share those things with you. And again, as always, consult your doctor regarding anything that is shared on the Wild Women of Worship Ministries Health and Wellness Moment, because each individual is different. Do your own homework, and more than anything, pay attention to your body. Your body is always talking to you. Your body's always talking to you. So I thank you very much for watching this program, and please share it with those that you believe will be blessed by it. Until we meet again, have a phenomenal and blessed day. Bye-bye.